Hello, this is the magazine analysis for the Rolling Stone by Gabriel Rugama, Maggie Requejo, and Kevin Fernandez. Let's first get started by analyzing the front cover, starting with the title. Before we begin, I'd like to ask you, what do you think that the text behind the black circle says? I'll give you 3 seconds to guess. One, two, three. Okay, if your guess was Rolling Stone, then you are correct. Do you see how easy that was? Now, in most of their covers, the celebrity's head is covering the title. This is like the magazine's way of saying, we're already very popular. We don't need to show you our full title because you already know who we are. And in a way, they are correct. I mean, you were able to guess their name by just seeing about 20% of their title earlier. But the reason that they're so easy to identify as a magazine is because of their very distinct font style. The font for the Rolling Stone magazine is called Royal Acid. Now this font is kind of like cursive. However, what sets it apart from other cursive fonts is that this one has automatically a very thick shadow to the bottom right of each letter, as well as a very thin stroke around each letter. Most of the time, the font color will be red or white. This is a theme that the magazine has developed for itself over several decades. These two colors, red and white, are the two traditional colors that the magazine has used for decades now. It's the contents of the front cover that usually decide which color the text will be. For example, in the Kevin Hart magazine, he's not only wearing a white jacket, but the background is also white. We can see an obvious theme of whiteness here, and we can conclude that the text has been made white to match with Kevin Hart and the background. In Leonardo DiCaprio's example, however, even though his theme is not white, his background has been blurred, and so we can conclude that the text has been made white to perfectly stand out and contrast well with the blurred background. Now, yes, most of the time it will be red or white text. However, there may be other times where the text color could be themed to being something else. For example, all the way to the right, the two celebrities in the front cover are members from the cast from Orange is the New Black. Hence, why the text color behind their heads is orange. Besides the actual masthead, there are other features in the cover that usually repeat themselves or stay very similar. In the Kevin Hart magazine from August 2015, you can notice that all the way to the left, there is a list of several of the articles' names. All the way to the top is the Kevin Hart article, of course, because he is the person or celebrity that is featured on the cover. Notice how the name Kevin Hart is not only in bold, but also has a much larger font size than the rest of the text under it. The name Kevin Hart is such a popular name in pop culture, it will attract many eyes towards it. Notice how the word killing is also bolded and a much larger font size. It does not necessarily have to do anything with murder. However, the word kill attracts more attention. Now, if someone is viewing this at the store, their eyes will naturally skim down as they read first the bolded text and then the article's name or what it's about. The same repeats itself all the way down in a pattern, following bold text, article name, bold text, article name. At a much smaller scale, always in the top right corner, the date is featured. Of course, it's important just to notify when it was released. However, it's small enough to not take away the attention from what's featured on the cover. Another common feature in these covers is that there is always a black box with a white stroke around it near the head or just the masthead of the magazine cover. This black box features a very important and serious issue or just news. For example, in the Leonardo DiCaprio magazine cover, the black box features the text about El Chapo being found, a Mexican drug lord. And in the one about Orange is the New Black, the black box features that a famous American singer, B.B. King, has unfortunately passed away. Now we can see a clear difference in many of the magazine covers. The list all the way to the left found in the Kevin Hart magazine is not found in these two. However, in the Orange is the New Black one, there is a list, but this time it's to the right, and it does not feature a pattern of bolded text followed by an article name.
The table of contents have a uniform when it comes to the Rolling Stone. All table of contents have some sort of image or group of images to the right of the page and usually take up the most amount of space on the page. To the page's right are the stories and all the topics discussed in the issue. Every table of contents has a signature issue number that reads RS and then the number. If you look to the left, that specific table of contents was a tribute to Lemmy Kilmister, a famous rock legend, hence all the black and white. However, even though it's altered, it still holds on to the template. It seems to be a recurring theme that they're here to try to break the mold, but still manage to stay true to the essence of the and design structure of the magazine. As can be seen with the table of contents in the middle and to the far right, while showcasing completely opposite themes in the issue, it still maintains the magazine's stylistic and minimalistic template. On the occasion where it does become altered, the magazine still maintains the essence while delivering their message. On the far right corner, there is a quote that reads, "All the news that fits." They're referring to not only how the news on the table of contents is not the only thing featured on the issue, but the grander meaning is a message to the audience that not all the news that's out there manages to be placed in the magazine. It's the magazine's way of not only being self-aware, but an attempt at making the reader aware as well. It seems to be a recurring theme that they're here to try to break the mold, but still manage to stay true to the essence of the and design structure of the magazine. As can be seen with the table of contents in the middle and to the far right, while showcasing completely opposite themes in the issue, it still maintains the magazine's stylistic and minimalistic template. On the occasion where it does become altered, the magazine still maintains the essence while delivering their message. On the far right corner, there is a quote that reads, "All the news that fits." They're referring to not only how the news on the table of contents is not the only thing featured on the issue, but the grander meaning is a message to the audience that not all the news that's out there manages to be placed in the magazine. It's the magazine's way of not only being self-aware, but an attempt at making the reader aware as well.
Rolling Stone is a prominent magazine followed by many who consider it the pop culture Bible. And it's because Rolling Stone is famous for facing adversity and for housing stray outliers, and Orange is the New Black goes perfectly with what they stand for. Orange is the New Black is an American comedy drama series created by Jenji Cohen. Carried by its exceptional ensemble, Orange is the New Black is a groundbreaking show that tackles hard-hitting issues with dramatic depth and gallows humor. Providing a space for lots of unknown talent, namely a large black cast, Orange is the New Black is doing what is practically unheard of in Hollywood. Coming up from the streaming service Netflix, its origins align with the same raw and truthful design story of the feature spread. As you can see, we are greeted with the big, bold, gritty font of the spread cover, with the main characters' black and white portraits as the background. The text reads, "Caged Heat," in a bright orange color, reminiscent of the show's color palette. The title represents the talented women who play prisoners on the show and how they're absolutely killing and revolutionizing TV while representing underrepresented communities. With portraits laced with the attitudes of the vivacious and indestructible characters, we see a different side of female prisoners. You've never seen an inmate photographed in black and white, exhibiting their true selves. That's not a luxury that these real women can afford, and the use of the two-page spread showcasing the unadulterated personalities of these women is a statement that speaks volumes on the representation of imprisoned women and the importance of the characters, and how individually they tell a story that tells the story of countless of women in the American prison system. The rugged design is used to capitalize on the gritty and hard-hitting truth of federal prison in the United States. Next, if you direct your sight to the first image, you should be able to see a few of the design elements that were chosen to represent the spread. The capitalization of the first letter in the text is used to catch the reader's attention. By making the first letter as big as possible, it draws the eyes to the text and emphasizes the importance of whatever is mentioned in the paragraphs to come. Another design element that can be seen is the use of dashed lines as borders to separate the paragraphs, but that's not its only use. When thinking of design, the use of dashed lines can be used to indicate a variety of expressions within the text to the reader. In this case, the obvious answer would be that the dashed lines are used to convey some sort of prison cells. This use of dashed lines is a perfect example of an alignment between visual perception and verbal language. The lines provide a visual vocabulary that expresses entrapment, freedom, and hope. Moreover, the emphasis on specific quotes of the interview is just another use of design to not only attract the reader, but to highlight the most important parts of the text.
Rolling Stone magazine was founded in 1967 by Jan Wenner and Ralph J. Gleason in San Francisco, California. The first issue released November 9, 1967, and featured John Lennon in a still from the film How I Won the War. John Lennon's film How I Won the War is a satire based on World War II. A Rolling Stone gathers no moss is a quote from Publilius Cyrus, a Latin writer born in 85 BC. However, Jan Wenner claims that the inspiration from the title refers to Muddy Waters' 1950s blues song, Rolling Stone, and Bob Dylan's song, Like a Rolling Stone. However, it seems to trace back to Publilius Cyrus' famous quote, Jan Wenner chose this quote to represent his magazine because it exemplifies the counterculture aspect of that era. When first released, the Rolling Stone was considered a counterculture Bible and made to break social norms and barriers, attracting those whose behavior differed from that of mainstream norms and values. This is more noticeable in future issues as it starts to attract popularity and gain their target demographic. A Rolling Stone gathers no moss is a quote from Publilius Cyrus, a Latin writer born in 85 BC. However, Jan Wenner claims that the inspiration from the title refers to Muddy Waters' 1950s blues song, Rolling Stone, and Bob Dylan's song, Like a Rolling Stone. However, it seems to trace back to Publilius Cyrus' famous quote. Jan Wenner chose this quote to represent his magazine because it exemplifies the counterculture aspect of that era.
The history of the magazine reflects the house style because just like every aspect of the magazine, it has evolved into a coveted and well-respected magazine that's been responsible for star-making covers. But it's never lost its essence. It's gone through some crucial changes through the years, but that has never affected the public's fixation on the groundbreaking journalism. Rolling Stone magazine is a respected part of pop culture that has grown with and evolved with the times. It's lived through iconic eras of media, has had music and film icons grace its covers, and it's all the better for it. It's been privy to some of the biggest celebrity secrets and has covered the most riveting stories in the past century. But with all its grandeur, it still seeks for the gritty and out of the box. Rolling Stone doesn't shy away from the controversial or taboo. It embraces it. References for a younger generation of artists and is always a celebrated milestone for the more seasoned. The use of close-up portrait shots on the covers makes even the most cold or jaded artist seem kind and human. The use of posing, lighting, and costume can turn even the plainest Jane into a superstar. And sometimes, the use of theme and vision creates a world for the audience to dive into. Rolling Stone is an icon in and of itself. Founded in 1967, its main focus was on music coverage and reviews, but geared its focus more towards TV shows and film to appeal to a younger audience in the 90s. It's easy to see that the magazine is mainly targeted towards a young male audience, what with the targeted advertisement for nicotine and alcohol products in the magazine. Based on the stylistic and rugged design of their house style, the appeal towards male demographic is blatant. Going off on the magazine's track record, they appeal to this demographic by adding sexualized female artists to appeal to the male gaze and showcasing more interesting male artists. If it's a young male's readership, it would seem obvious to have some percentage of the audience to be involved in some sort of secondary education. Having to have proper writing technique would be crucial if dealing with an educated audience. Based on the research, their ideal target demographic is middle-of-the-road rock fans of all ages, while still maintaining some coverage on popular music. Their most engaged audience is by far males, with the male-to-female ratio at 62.6% to 37.4%, and their largest age demographic from 18 to 24-year-olds. Furthermore, 61.8% of their demographic is attending college, meaning they are writing to appeal a more educated demographic, meaning they would have to focus on using correct terminology, also due to their older following. Based on the research, their ideal target demographic is middle-of-the-road rock